It's one small step for man.
Out for the out for the
AJ's Book Quarter. I'm reading the book The Self-Made Widow by Fabian Nicieza. Sorry, messed it up. Alright. Andrea picked Kenny up at the train station at 4:23. He was annoyed she had JoJo, Sarah, and Sadie with her. He was more annoyed when Sarah and Sadie started up their oldie but goodie, the Kenny Kenny Bo Benny song, and then extremely annoyed when they wouldn't stop for the 5 minutes it took them to drive to the Delaware and Raritan Canal lot on Alexander Road. You don't mind walking the canal, Andrea asked. It keeps the two of them where I can see them. I'm surprised they don't dive right into the water, Kenny said. And no, I don't mind. The new me walks a lot more. The new you, she said with a smile. He no longer saw coy, knowing brilliance in her soft smiles. He saw judging arrogance. Was that him or her? He wasn't really sure. For a few years since his fall from grace, he had defaulted to blaming everything on his own insecurity, and now he wondered how much of Andrea's know-it-allness was her problem. It's the old me, for the most part, just with a tighter ass, he said. The girls laughed in the back. He said ass. At least it got them to stop singing the fucking song. They pulled into the DNR Canal Park lot. JoJo grew hyper when she saw her sisters running around and wasn't able to join in. Andrea moved the car seat onto the stroller. Sarah wanted to push and Sadie whined until she was allowed to help. They made their way down to the walking path that ran along the canal. It was a beautiful late September afternoon. The kids pushed JoJo ahead of them as Andrea and Kenny walked. You bought the kids so you could control yourself depending on what I have to say, he mused. I bought the kids because it's called parenting, she said. I'm just not in a not horrible place where Ruth and Eli have enough school and sports activities and I don't usually have to handle all 5 at once. Kenny watched Sarah and Sadie swerve the stroller so forcefully that they almost toppled the baby over. Yeah, seems like a piece of cake now, he muttered. They walked for a few steps. How bad is it? She asked. I don't know, he said. What do you know? Not enough to accuse Jeff of anything, he replied. But enough to arouse suspicion, she said. I could walk away right now, Kenny said. I could have not said anything to you at all. But if he is involved in another dirty scheme, I thought you would want to know, he said. Andrea thought about Jeff's financial indiscretions from a few years ago and what it had cost them. Indiscretions, she thought, knowing that even now she tiptoed around the truth. He had taken money from his clients without their knowledge. He had made them more money as a result, but it was still unethical and illegal. They walked a little farther in silence. The kids continued to treat the stroller like it was their own demolition derby. JoJo was giggling loudly the entire time. So far, the book's okay. It's an easy read. It's just something I just like to read to keep my mind, involved in other things other than just being on your phone all day and, doing other things. That's the thing. I am on my phone and I do, scroll on social media, but it's lessened a lot with, the other stuff that I do, which is really nice. But today's episode, can you believe what we're going to be talking about? Bullshit. Exactly. We're going to be talking about bullshit. So it's not always clearly like a direct lie. A lie is a straightforward. Someone says something false, and if you have the facts, you can disprove it. What we're talking about today is slipperier. It's that moment when someone makes a claim and you can't tell if they actually believe it, if they're doing it on purpose, or even if they care whether it's true. That feeling is your brain processing bullshit. And today we're discussing why it's so exhausting for your mental health, why your brain falls for it so easily, and how to protect your peace when you encounter it. Now, to start off, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm pretty decent at calling bullshit. But I don't especially when I'm at work. When I hear people say something that's bullshit. But okay. That's exactly how I kind of deal with bullshit. It's I'm not calling people on it because most of the time people who are talking bullshit aren't people that I necessarily care about to change their mind or make them a better person or worry about or concerned about their character. But I do be calling bullshit. All right. So to understand why bullshit wears us down emotionally, we have to look at how our brain processes this information. So philosopher Harry Frankfurt made a famous distinction back in 2025. A liar actually cares about the truth enough to hide it. To lie effectively, you have to know what the reality is, but a person spreading bullshit doesn't care if the statement is true, false, or somewhere in between. The commitment to finding out the truth isn't there. What makes this so challenging for our brain or our mental health to process is that human beings are wired to respond to ease, confidence, and repetition. Of course, we're lazy. Our brains are very fucking lazy. In 2026, meta-analysis covering over 31,000 participants confirmed a psychological phenomenon known as illusory truth effect. Simply put, the more times we hear a claim repeated, the more familiar it feels and the more our brain starts to register it as true, even if no new evidence was ever provided. And so research by Petrocelli and colleagues found that people often judge claims from someone speaking in this careless way as surprisingly believable, sometimes even more believable than an outright liar, because they perform sincerity so well. You're basically like, you're a person who lies with charisma, aka bullshitter. Anyway, our nervous system relies on mental shortcuts. Basically your brain, like I say, I always say this, our brains are very lazy. Like when someone says you remind me of this person, no, your brain's just lazy trying to process a new person. I don't remind you of that. Your brain's just being lazy because it's trying to always constantly relate what it's currently presently seeing back to something it already flipping knows instead of trying to learn something new. It's just how our brain works. It is what it is. So we build, these models of the world to survive and navigate daily life without getting too overwhelmed by every tiny detail. And that ambiguity is a normal part of being human, like I just said. But it becomes toxic to our mental state when evidence no longer matters and the appearance of confidence replaces actual reality and also fact. So when you encounter this dynamic in personal relationships, group chats, or other spaces, it can take a serious toll on our mental health. So Dr. Brenner describes a specific pattern called BRODA, which stands for bait, refuse, open, dialogue, and attack. It starts with a statement or a question that looks like an invitation to talk, but when you try to respond with facts or reason, you realize no answer will change the exchange. The dialogue closes. You keep trying to bring up logic or reality back into the conversation, and a dynamic flips. Suddenly, you are framed as the one who is being hostile, dramatic, or unfair. That's why it's very important that you're able to call bullshit on people, because you would get in a person who doesn't know how to pinpoint or call out a person who's a bullshitter will go into a conversation with them to try to debate. And a bullshitter is not here to debate. They're a bullshitter. They know that shit ain't true. They're bullshitting. So you're sitting here trying to speak logic unto a person who's full of shit. Bullshit. So why are we doing this? That's why it's so important to not waste your energy on those types of people. And I'm really glad that I was born into a family where we all have a really high bullshitometer to be like, oh, no, you on that bullshit, but okay. Because I'm just not, it's entertaining for me in the way with which, I'm going to let you talk just to hear this bullshit so I can go tell somebody else about how I heard you talking this bullshit. That's the only reason I'm going to let you finish. I'm not going to let you finish to agree. I'm not going to let you finish to motivate me to be behind your cause. It's just me wanting to hear the bullshit so I can go talk to someone else about how I heard you talking this bullshit, honestly. So again, they talk about this is a massive psychological trap. When you value fairness, what psychologists call the need for a just world, your instinct is to fix the misunderstanding. Again, trying to debate a bullshitter with logic. You can't. You want things to be fair and sensible, but when bad faith messaging triggers your sense of righteous indignation, it pulls you into an emotional loop that drains your energy. I just said this shit. So trying to decode someone's hidden motives is exhausting. You end up playing detective in your own head. Did they mean that? What are they doing? Are they doing this on purpose? I ain't doing none of that. I know you bullshitting. That's why I will let you do it. So instead of trying to read their mind, look at the reality of the exchange. Is there evidence supporting the claim? Is the person willing to consider new facts or be corrected? If you ask simple questions, do they engage the point or do they turn it into a personal attack? If they refuse the evidence and make it personal, that refusal is all the information you need. So these are kind of like steps here where you can kind of like practice and protect your peace from people who are like this. Recognize the loop, accept that you cannot force someone to care about evidence if they've accepted or decided not to. State facts plainly without for witnesses. If you must respond, like in a group project or a public forum, state the clear evidence simply and calmly for the benefit of bystanders. Name the refusal, not the person. Point out that the exchange isn't open to evidence without analyzing the interpersonality or motives. You're not going to say, well, you're full of shit. You can't say that. You can say, I hear your point, but I feel like your point can be invalidated without being able to have facts and information to back it up. Like, see, like, I had to learn this skill, and I'm very appreciative of me learning this skill and having this skill. And when I found this article, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the article I needed. Yes, this article is so me, because I'm a person, like, I was talking to one of my siblings, I was talking about how, like, people be on bullshit. She'd be like, yeah, exactly. It's bullshit. And, like, all my siblings are like this. We are all like this, where we're like, yeah, that person's full of shit. Yeah, exactly, it's bullshit. But anyway. Truth as a daily practice here. Navigating the world really doesn't require you to have absolute certainty about everything. It doesn't require you to police everyone's motives. And honestly, it's really, 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 really exhausting. Oh, I forgot the last thing that can help you. Disengage early. Once it's clear that a correction has nowhere to land, walk away. Just go. Like I said, you don't have to give them any more energy than they need to. You know they're full of shit. Anyway. Truth isn't just a set of statistic facts. It's an ongoing practice of staying curious, adjusting when you need new information, protecting your mental space from noise that isn't built on reality. So it's a lot. Like, I understand, like, it is a lot to try to find a bullshitter and figure it out, but it can be done. Moving on to what I'm happy and grateful for. I am happy and grateful for the coming fall season. I'm really excited about it, and I think it's gonna be a whole like bunch of fun. I have like there's gonna be like food shows and stuff like that. Like, I realized that since I moved, I have availability and opportunity to go out and do things that I actually like to do, but then I have to figure out what it is I actually like to do. And I'm figuring out slowly but surely I do like to go to like food festivals and try different foods. And I just like being in those environments, and it's fun. So like those are some of the things I like to do. I also may want to try a Ren Fair this year. Trying to talk one of my best friends into going to the Ren Fair with me, and just putting stuff on and going and having fun. I think it'll be really like fun and really cool to get to do, and yeah. So yeah, I'm happy about the oncoming fall season, because that's going to be one of the things that I'm really excited about. Moving on to the quote. Let me see if I can find it, because I did have one that I really wanted to read. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Ah, here it is. Sometimes a little rudeness to establish that you don't fancy nonsense is important. And this kind of relates back to this week's article. Sometimes you have to let people, like, there's some things that my siblings, like, I'll listen to friends and like family tell me about some of the stuff that happened to other people, where people have done this and cussed them out, fussed at them at the job. And I'm just kind of like, may that kind of response or interaction never find me, because I don't believe I put off the energy of, you can talk to me like shit. And I just need, because I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I can be bubbly and quirky and appear extroverted and stuff, but that's due to masking, and I have to do masking at work, of course. But in those environments, I just don't think I give off the energy that you're going to speak to me any kind of way. And I think I have said, like, I make it very known that I'm a kind person, but I'm not nice. And that's the thing too, like, and I'm not saying that as like, oh my gosh, she's mean. I'm not mean. I'm just not a nice person. I'm kind though, but it's just kind of like I'm not being. I've always said being referred to as being nice means the person doesn't really know you. Like anyone can be nice. Can everyone be kind? No, not everyone can be kind. And I think kind is a lot of things that nice is not. I think nice is very surface level, and that's why I really don't like when people refer to people as being nice. But I think I'm kind, so I roll with that. But yeah, sometimes a little rudeness to establish that you don't fancy nonsense is important because it's level setting. That's all it really is. That quote's really simply about level setting. But all right, before I go, be sure to check out the show notes. And also check out my books on Amazon titled Poems to Cry to in the Dark and Love Letters Never Sent to Myself, and leave a 5-star rating. Other than that, I don't have anything else. I'm glad you're still here, and I hope you have the day you deserve. Bye!
One, fire, please.